Maverick Physical Therapy, welcome to a little Kinetic linking Friday, or Kinetic linking episode on what we would call the treasure box, or the Posterior Hip Capsule. So, this is my son Maverick's treasure box right here, and it's stuffed with some goodies, all of his favorite things. So, my sister Meredith and her husband Brian, when Maverick, before he was born, sent him some gifts, and some gifts in this treasure box here, and they wrote something uniquely incredible on the inside, or on the top of the treasure box. It says, "There comes a time in every rightly constructed boy's life when he has a raging desire to go somewhere and dig for hidden treasure." And recalling my years growing up on my parents' farm in Michigan, man, I had little hiding spots, and I had I called it my special drawer, my treasure box. I still have a couple of them back in Michigan, and it's something that I hold really dearly to. I remember I'd have, baseball-wise, I was a huge Detroit Tiger fan. Alan Trammell, who was a San Diego native, he was the guy that I loved and idolized growing up, and that was my guy. So I had baseball cards of him in there. I remember specifically a couple Detroit Tiger radios that you got from going to a game, little Detroit Tiger batting gloves. I had little cap guns from playing Cowboys and Indians and running through the barns and the orchards. And I had a lot of other random things. I had like rocks and stones that were cool, Indian arrowheads that you'd find from digging out and about. Some hair, just little lockets of hair for my dogs, a few little pictures here and there. It was just, if you wanted to know where I was and you couldn't find me, I was either hiding or doing something outside, or if I was inside, it was, you know what, I was rearranging. I was just going through my special drawer. That was my alone time, and that was me. That made me feel really good. That was my special kind of area and way of freedom and independence. And so Maverick right here, his little treasure box, he's big into a lot of cool stuff. So he's got, from Lightning McQueen, he's got Mac the truck. He's got a little Arlo, little dinosaur from the movie The Good Dinosaur. He's got a little Spider-Man action here. The book Frosty the Snowman. It's already his all-time favorite. Star Wars, we've got Obi-Wan Kenobi and Han Solo. We've got Luke Skywalker. We've got Chewbacca and Darth Vader. Set those guys down. We've got a little dinosaur and truck hybrid, Dino Trucks. It's kind of the new craze. We've got Lightning McQueen, who's from the Disney movie Cars. He's got about 20 of these things. He's got Blaze, who's a monster truck. It's a show that's on, I think, Disney for children, or Nickelodeon Junior. We've got the elf on the shelf, who is named Chippy. We've got some little Mr. Potato Heads here, as Captain America and the Incredible Hulk. We've got Chase from TV show Paw Patrol. We've got another little Chase that's in a little motorized car. We've got Toe Mater, who's Lightning McQueen's friend from Cars. And we've got Mr. Potato Head here. Mr. Potato Head. So for a boy, these hiding spots are crucial, and they're very pivotal in terms of having some independence and feeling like everything that's super important to you is in there. He's also got a little picture of his brother Maddox that he has in his stuff. And so that's my son Maverick's treasure box. I still find myself in my own in our room, and just some of my drawers and my little man cave out in the garage. I still have little areas that are super imperative and important to me, and very crucial and pivotal in terms of, hey, this is This is my happy spot. You know, if you give me a foot by 2 foot section area that's maybe a foot tall, I can pack in the stuff that's really, really important to me for whatever reason. Whether it's some cards of encouragement, whether it's for birthdays or holidays, or for just random times that people have been really thoughtful and have given me some things. Definitely pictures of my family, and other little things, like I do have some rocks for very monumental, like, exploration sessions. Maybe it's kind of like a DVD set or something of that nature, like the 1984 Detroit Tigers winning the World Series. Video on Barry Sanders, the Fab Five, the Bad Boys of the Detroit Piston, big era and reign in the late 80s and early 90s, some Star Wars movies. And I think of the treasure box, and every man that listens to this and every boy that listens to this, I think, can find some great connection in that. This is a very real thing. And when I think of the treasure box, I think of an analogy that is very, very similar to that of the human body, and that our treasure box is hidden. We don't want anybody to find it. It's gold, it's power, it's truth, it's freedom. It makes us feel good. We're successful. We love that little box. On the body, tucked away in an area that nobody would think to look, would be the posterior iliofemoral joint capsule, also known as the hip joint capsule. We've got the hip. We have people that talk about the hip bone and stuff like that. We've got the pelvis and we've got the femur. When these two come together, we form the hip joint. There's 3 portions of this pelvis bone. The pubic, in terms of and how that relates to what this joint capsule is. So let me take a step back a second. So this hip joint capsule, before I get too crazy and too nerdy, is a fancy way of saying, hey, there's a big ligament that holds the pelvis together with the femur. We've got this pubofemoral ligament, this iliofemoral ligament, and this ischiofemoral ligament. So basically 3 dividing points that intersect and meet right in the acetabulum, this hip joint socket, in terms of the dividing lines and factors of this bone. So we have the pubic portion, we have the ilio portion, and then they have the ischio portion. And this ischiofemoral portion, also known as the posterior hip capsule, is an extremely dangerous and powerful tool that we can use to our advantage. But when we have it locked away, or when we don't have one, which we do, but unaccessible, we're in a complete, utter, disastrous world of hurt. Being able to load up the back side of this hip joint capsule, so the stretchiness that enables us to take advantage of the most powerful factor in the body, that internal rotation for the hip, that oddly enough is brought about by some subtalar joint eversion, foot and ankle mobility and motion, which we'll save that dialogue for another conversation. But being able to load that hip up into flexion and internal rotation, flexion, internal rotation, and adduction, extension of the hip with internal rotation of the hip, is a super pivotal and extremely imperative mode of function that we need to be able to be successful, to be able to consistently and efficiently repeat all of our best efforts, and so that we can take advantage of optimizing what it is, what it means to meet and get close to what our genetic potential is. The posterior hip capsule, as I sit here amongst this playground structure I kind of blueprinted out and built for my little guys as a gift and a present, I'm reminded of the importance of what it means to have a treasure box, to have a safety net and safe hold, to be able to have a spot for all your favorite things. I know what it means to be able to be a little boy and have an area to hide and to create, and to be able to free play, and and to be able to learn and to be able to make mistakes and to be unruly and to be a little renegade. And that's exactly what that posterior hip capsule is. This is the hidden treasure box that nobody can see, nobody can find, and that very few know about. But that is a big culprit in our successes, and is a big culprit in our failures or unsuccesses with regards to movement efficiency and movement compensation. The posterior hip capsule, the grown man, the grown woman, the grown human, and the little humans, most prideful, most creative, courageous, and most liberating really portion of their body that will give them the freedom and the creativity to be good, successful movers. More to be had on further episodes on the posterior hip capsule.